So, welcome everyone. I'm Alexander Mihalcea, and today you're joined by Nomaan Bin Bashir, co-founder and CEO of Ozoned Digital. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Before we dive in, could you give us a quick overview of what Ozone Digital does?
Thank you, Alex. And it's a great opportunity to sort of come here and talk a little bit about what we do. So we're basically an insurtech company and based out of the Asian continent. And the fact is that we've actually been set up based on some of the things that we saw within the industry because of being part of the industry for a very long time, roughly around 20 plus years. We saw a lot of opportunities with respect to gaps within the technology enablement when it comes to the insurance companies and the various distributions that sit outside that carry a huge potential when it comes to insurance penetration. So we saw those gaps, we saw those opportunities sitting within the insurance industry, and examples like the industry not being Gen Z friendly, the industry being using heavily manual tasks or workflows to sort of conduct work, the non-efficiencies that come in with that, the delays that come in with the customer, services, so on and so forth. So we saw those gaps, we saw those opportunities, and it allowed us to look into setting up an insurtech company that would have one single focus, which will be to build a solution around the value chain of the insurance industry. And when I say the value chain of the insurance industry, what I mean by that is everything that starts from the sale or acquisition, even before that, the lead generation to the end, which may be claims or renewals and everything in between, right? So everything that happens within that ecosystem, we wanted to build a platform around that. So we did that. So the Ozone platform was built around the value chain. And the fact being that we wanted to be digitally enabled and lean and user friendly and provide solutions for the industry where they were suffering from the challenges of the legacy systems, provided that bridge in between what they had, i.e., the industry had in terms of the legacy systems, and what the new requirements of new distributions out there were. So the platform is actually sitting in between the core and what you have in terms of the distribution opportunities. But interestingly, while we did that, we also saw that the opportunity to really do tasks a core platform, meaning a policy administration system, were also present. So the platform is structured in such a way that it provides you opportunities to even build a solution from a policy admin perspective.
Okay, that's fascinating. And what inspired to create Ozone Digital? Was there a specific moment or experience that sparked this journey?
The spark, Alex, to be honest, was my pains within the industry. And as I said, I've worked for the industry as, a risk manager, as an underwriter, as a business manager, and I've seen the challenges from within the companies, from within the
Yeah.
industry. I used to work for a global company called AIG, and I've worked with them for a very long time. So I saw a lot of gaps when I sat in the industry, and I saw that there were opportunities popping up outside, in terms of distribution, but we were not able to service or reach out to them with solutions that the new age wanted. So those were the things that really sparked the motivation to do something, bridge those gaps, and increase the penetration of the insurance industry.
Okay, I see. And what was your background before starting this venture?
As I said, I've been a risk manager. I've been an underwriter all my life. So my main experience has been working as an underwriter for AIG, and I've also worked for certain local companies within Pakistan. And I've also headed the vitality business for one of the life companies here in Pakistan. So I've got a varied experience, but mainly as a risk manager or as an underwriter for consumer lines of business. That's where that's what my background is.
Okay, I see. And I have a curiosity by then. So, what exactly is embedded insurance? How does it work?
Okay, it's an interesting thing that you picked up this area to talk about. Embedded, as the word would suggest, it's something that relates to an insurance proposition being presented, being built in, quote unquote. So it's a built-in, seamlessly integrated insurance policy or insurance experience or insurance sale a proposition to the potential clients out there. And as an example, for example, you buying an airline ticket, and you would have an opportunity to buy insurance on the spot. So while you're
Hmm.
going through your journey of buying or purchasing or experiencing your service, or for that matter a product, at that
Yeah.
particular moment, but the opportunity to present insurance seamlessly, built in perspective, in an embedded fashion, creates the opportunity for a client to relate to the need at that specific moment. And it's more, it's a seamless, frictionless sale of an insurance at the right moment for the right person for the right requirement.
Yeah, right. Right. And for example, what role do insurtech companies play in the growth of embedded insurance?
So, Alex, basically, when it comes to the insurtech companies, the bedrock on which the insurtech companies are set up is technology and the capability to utilize new tools, new technologies to be able to reach out to various changing needs of the audiences wasn't available or isn't largely available with the insurance industry. So insurance technology companies or the insurtechs, when they came out with certain platforms, certain tools, certain bridges, which would allow the legacy systems to be able to reach out to various sectors. I mean, you can talk about rental companies, you can talk about telcos, you can talk about oil marketing companies. The opportunity window for every industry opens up. And since there are clients there who have experiences for their specific needs, I mean, if it's a telco, you're talking about a subscriber utilizing mobile devices, but he has inherent needs. He may not be knowing about it, but when you speak to them with regards to embedded, with a tool that an insurtech company will provide, immediately you are able to make a connection. So the insurtech companies, in summary, provide you the tools and the technology to connect those legacy core systems with, with the opportunity in terms of various customer segments that sit out there.
Yeah, right. And what are some real world examples of embedded insurance today?
Well, go out to any large airline portal. You talk about Emirates, you talk about Etihad, you talk about Qatar Airways, you talk about any large and airline, right? And you will find an opportunity there while you're purchasing your ticket. They are cross-selling or embedding insurance at that particular moment. You talk about Booking.com, for example. Everybody knows about Booking.com. We know about Airbnb as well. There are rental car companies out there. And at the moment you're purchasing that service or a product, at that very moment, the need of insurance
Yeah,
is highlighted to you, and you can relate to what risks you carry while you use that product or service. The relevance of that insurance proposition becomes very clear to you. So some of these examples we are all aware of, and on a day-to-day basis in each part of the world.
yeah,
And I think you talk about Amazon, you talk about PayPal. The opportunities are, the examples are too many, but these are the some of the ones that I can sort of give you an idea
yeah,
about.
right, right. And let's go back to when you first started. So, what major challenges or gaps did you see in the market that made you think this needs to be solved?
Okay, when I started, as I said to you earlier as well, some of the challenges that I saw was with regards to some industries that wanted to have insurance products. Let's talk about telcos. So some of the markets I was working with within Middle East and also Southeast Asia, they had opportunities with telcos because obviously they had large databases of customers, and they had certain products and services that were going out to those customers where potentially a client had a need of insurance. So let's talk about international roaming customers as an example. So for telcos, international roaming customers were traveling with an international SIM or an international service activated, and while traveling, they were not covered.
Right.
So if I had to pitch in, and a travel insurance for that matter, I wasn't able to do that. Why? Because the solution that I had to provide had to be, on demand, for example, and it had to be, it doesn't have to be a yearly policy for that matter. It may be very short term, maybe a day, maybe half a day, maybe 5 days, and the flexibility that I needed from the insurance legacy systems that I was working with wasn't allowing me, I mean, the lack of flexibility, I would say, wasn't allowing me to pitch a product there
Yeah.
and sell it at that very moment when the person is traveling. So, and there are many other examples. I mean, for example, when it comes to claims, and on a day-to-day basis, as an insurance underwriter, you come across clients with corporate group customers, individual customers who would like to, file a claim.
Yeah.
But how are we allowing them to file a claim? It's mostly pick up the phone, call up a call center person, and they'll depute a surveyor, for example, if it is a vehicle. And, the experience was broken, specifically when it came to the other fintech world advancing very fast. We talk about banks. Banks are years ahead of the insurance industry globally, if you talk about it, right? Yes, the insurance industry is catching up, but they're still far behind the banks. And I don't remember, I mean, for the last 25 years now, I don't remember being to a bank, standing in a queue, withdrawing money. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Right.
what kind of a change is that? I mean, yes, if I talk about 30 years, 35 years back, yes, for everything I had to go to a bank. Same thing goes for the insurance industry as well. For a claim, for a renewal, for a change, what do? We reach out to the insurance companies, we talk to them, we connect to them on the call center, through the call center, or maybe there are some dead websites. And when I say dead,
Hmm.
they're not connected in such a way that they're online, they're live, and they respond to you. Okay, so that is what the gaps were. Those were the gaps. So, and it all was around that value chain. I mean, I talked about claims, I talked about renewals, I talked about product, I talked about pricing. All these things were the pains I was going through within the industry. Okay, so there had to be a solution. I'm sure there are many solutions out there, but what we've done is we have actually built one platform only, a single platform, and that single platform allowed us to take care of all these problems.
Right. Right. And for example, how has insurance technology evolved over the past decade, and what are the most significant changes you have observed?
Okay, so from an insurance industry perspective, yeah, as an evolution of technology, um, the requirement or the need of being in touch with your customer more real time is what I see. I see a change moving away from websites to apps. I see a change moving away from websites or from like, for example, manual forms or emails to embedding some of the workflows with customers, potential large customers. And all of this is doing what? Creating a seamless connection between the insurer and the potential customer. And this seamless connection is what has been a miss. Why? Because the more people you have in between, the more broken it gets. So, while from a sales perspective, yes, the traditional selling is still a mainstay for the insurance industry. But when it comes to servicing, the opportunity was huge. So the changes that I've seen are, just not having static websites, apps, API integrations, SDKs, iframes. All of this is actually building up. Plus, what I see now is AI and IoT also coming into play for the changes. For example, for us, we worked on AI, we worked on IoT as well. And as an example, for one of the largest life insurers in Pakistan, we have actually built a wellness platform. And what we do in there is that we are extracting data or information on events being, clocked on your watch, on your IoT device, on your phone. Okay. So all the health relevant information we are capturing, and We've put down certain parameters on which it is being assessed. And based on that, using certain AI tools, we are then able to comprehend how the customer behavior is moving with having that policy with the insurance company. So eventually, with good behavior, the more focused efforts by the insured in terms of taking care of his or her health, you are then able to provide insurance discounts for that matter, or
Yeah,
rewards
right.
for that matter. Okay, so all this was something unheard of within the insurance industry, but today it's there. So the health telematics, as an example, which is what I was talking to you about, is another thing where we have actually contributed to the industry, and we believe that this wasn't there before. So underwriting based on behavior is what the next thing is. Same goes to motor insurance as well with motor telematics. So I hope that I've given you enough flavor of what a
Yeah, yeah,
kind of
yeah.
technologies we've used.
Yeah, that's interesting. And you mentioned this. So how can technology such as AI or IoT enhance embedded insurance?
Okay, so as I said, in terms of embedded, the example that I gave you, for example, in one of the instances with a general insurer, we worked on claims, assessment or the initial assessment or initial reserving, effort was taken over by AI. So the moment, this was embedded within the whole claims process. So the moment somebody has a claim on the app, the customer is able to take a picture of the vehicle that is damaged. The system is able to analyze and assess. The system is able to analyze and assess what is the nature of the damage, may make a certain level of initial estimation, for which you need to run a surveyor physically out there. So the AI is embedded within the claims process, which makes it easier for the insurance company to even think about removing or kind of toning down the number of people that they have for physical surveying. So that itself gives them the first initial estimate immediately. What the tool does is after that, it allows, in fact, it extracts the information of the nearest workshop, allows the customer to be, or directs the customer to take the vehicle there or reach out to that particular workshop, so that there is there is a physical assessment also done, and the work starts off for the repair. So all of this is basically embedding that AI tool within the claims process that we built into our platform.
Okay, okay, I see. And why do you think there's a gap between banking and insurance sectors when it comes to digital transformation?
Good question. So I think insurance, what I have felt, has been a laggard, in terms of looking at the opportunity for reaching out to its customers, because it has been historically very comfortable with their large and group clients, which normally didn't have a lot of requirements in terms of tech savviness. When it comes to banking, obviously, the individual customers, the ability to reach out to those individual customers when it comes to their banking needs, the transactional nature of the business, heavily, toned towards or directed towards individual customers, kind of gave them a leading edge over the years, and this journey started many, many years ago for them. But industry, in terms of insurance, probably didn't think it was necessary. They were more keen on just handling the larger chunk of the business, which is group. Normally, what you see is the group businesses are about 60% plus of the total book of businesses. So when that is the case, the complacency sets in because it's transactionally less heavy. But today, with embedded, the tables are turning, right? Because things like, for example, micro insurance, where you're talking about millions and millions of customers, and the opportunity to reach out to them with on demand or low cost insurances. How would you do that? You can't do it
Yeah,
without
right.
technology. Okay. Segments are more visible and more. I mean, the insurance industry is more attracted towards them because now they see that there is an opportunity there. Plus, the most important thing is that these segments, for example, as I said, microinsurance, it does carry a huge potential to even make profits. The profitability levels are relatively higher as opposed to what you would see in a traditional business. So, that is now leading to the insurance industry now focusing on building the technology bench for them to sort of also have the ability to become transactional heavy and build business
Yeah.
segments that bring profitability.
Right, right. So, walk us through how Ozone Digital addresses these challenges. What makes your approach unique?
So when it comes to us, the simple reason that the platform itself is very lean, it's agile, the fact that it takes care of everything that's happening within the insurance value chain. So even if, for example, if I talk about claims, there's so many claim inefficiencies that you come across for multiple lines of business within insurance. You talk about motor insurance, you talk about travel insurance, you talk about health insurance. There's so many inefficiencies.
Yeah,
And
right.
what the way we are able to bring value to the table is by making sure that the tool provides the insurance companies with the transparency that they need for every step of the way within that process. This is just an example. Another example is renewals. I mean, for insurance, renewals is one of the companies. Sorry, the renewal is one of the key areas, which is business that's sitting there, and it's easy to catch up and pick up, and it's profitable as well, generally speaking. And just because you're not able to build up renewal mechanisms which are automated that reach out to the customers at the right time and follow up and make sure that they renew. Okay, and you're reliant on manpower or manual workflows. The transparency and in sorry, transparency is not there, and inefficiencies are also there. So we have from the platform perspective, if I talk about renewals, we are bridging that gap by providing tools to the insurance companies which automate the overall renewal process, which is just like, you set up certain conditions. For example, if the claim ratio is X, do this, do that, reach out at this time and with this frequency. And if they don't respond, this is what you do next.
Yeah.
All rule based stuff can only be done in a platform, in a digital platform. And this is what we are building and we have built within the platform at Ozone.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And when you talk to potential clients, what's the biggest misconception they typically have about what you do?
Okay, the biggest misconception that I have come across, at least from my perspective, is that they believe that we are a website developer. They believe that we are an app developer. While we do build websites or web portals, we do build apps. But what they don't understand is that these apps and these web portals are part of an ecosystem. You simply cannot pick them up and then kind of work in isolation. For example, I've seen many companies come to me and say, well, we just want a claim intimation system. And my
Yeah,
question is, what are you going to do with it? We just want somebody to be, flexible enough to be able to log a claim. The thing is that logging of the claim is just the first thing. There's so many things that happen afterwards. As a customer who has had claims, probably yourself, or I definitely know for myself that if I've had a claim, I would love to know exactly which stage my claim sits today. Where in the process am I sitting today? Who is doing what to my claim? And when is it going to be processed? Okay. And what are the steps involved? Okay. So all that requires a complete mechanism for claim workflow to be present before you actually go forward.
right.
And the other thing is, when it comes to, for example, claims, you cannot look at claims in isolation. Claims is very much part and parcel of a policy. You need to link up with the customer, the policy, the history, the legacy of that particular customer. All that can only work if you have access to the full picture. And this is what we provide as we tell them that, look, we are a solution provider, we are a platform provider. We are not an app developer. Yes, we do develop apps, but we are not an app developer in isolation. We are not a
Right.
website developer in isolation. So that's the biggest misconception that people have for the insurance industry, within the insurance industry. And you can relate to the fact that or digitized or digital transformation within the insurance companies is slowly moving towards the realization that they need a solution rather than just building static websites or just data capturing forms on websites or having an app somewhere that collects information and does nothing with it.
Yeah. Right.
So this is these are the misconceptions that we're trying to figure, to remove. The example, I'll give you one final example on this. The wellness app that we have built up with one of the largest life insurers in Pakistan allows them to track every single event with respect to the wellness of their insured, and based on every single event that is triggered, they are able to offer solutions, suggestions, advice, guidance, connections. All of that is possible only because they are intelligently using data.
Right. Right.
And so static versus dynamic is the concern. So for me, when I reach out to the customers, when we talk about what we offer, we just tell them that, guys, look, yes, we build all these things, but you need to look at the larger picture where you sit rather than just look at
Right.
things in isolation.
Okay. Also, could you share a specific success story of a client who saw significant results using your solution?
Yeah, we've had plenty of examples. We've got examples on, for example, life insurance. I'll give you an example. Life insurance is predominantly agent driven. Okay, so a salesperson driven, and predominantly because the complexity. Why is that the case? Because the complexity of life insurance demands that you are physically face to face with the customer or the protection
Right.
policies for that matter. And when you're talking about a face to face interaction, you need to have an agent. So, with life insurance companies, the mainstay of bringing in business predominantly is agency. And when it comes to agency, you need to have tools that allow the agent to interact with the customer and yourself and build a success story. So, what we have done with one of the largest, as I said, the largest private life insurer, is that we've built an agency management platform for them. There are roughly
Mhm.
about 12 to 14,000 agents who work for that particular life insurer. And all those agents are today able to manage each and every lead that they manage. Obviously, there's a funnel system. They have management of the agents, their performances, every single lead then leading out to a quotation leading to a policy issuance leading to then follow-ups. All
Yeah.
that for an agency force, it is high, and plus, most importantly, their performance and commissions. This is highly manual, generally speaking, within the insurance industry. We've automated
Right.
that.
Yeah.
So
That's
having automated that and having millions of transactions coming in from within that platform talks a lot about the requirement that had been there silently. But now, since we've built a solution, they are able to utilize it and they're able to have a success story out.
yeah. That's awesome about this. And for example, how does embedded insurance benefit consumers?
As I told you earlier, the benefit that is there to a consumer
Yeah.
is the fact that at the very moment that they are purchasing a product or a service from any industry for that matter, whether it's oil marketing, whether it's telco, whether it is travel, whether it is any other industry, okay? To have the opportunity to know what risks are associated with that particular purchase that they're having at that particular moment when they are buying it allows them to think whether they want themselves to be secured. And if you are able to pitch in an insurance product at that very moment, the chances of somebody picking it up there and then
Yeah.
and getting protected makes sense. And because it's seamless and it's built in, they don't have to go out and shop for it. Yes, there are challenges attached with it when it comes to regulations and the data privacy and all of that. But generally speaking, if that is kind of taken care of, you are able to then not go out of the domain of your experience with that third party and also enjoy insurance while you enjoying the other product and service.
Okay, I see. And looking at the broader industry, what key trends are you seeing emerge?
Can you just repeat that? Broader industry for what?
Yeah, right. So, looking at the broader industry, what key trends are you seeing emerge?
Well, AI, Gen AI as a start, I think that's a trend that I'm seeing. I think there's a lot of opportunity that is present within the insurance value chain, where insurtech platforms like ours provide the opportunity to use AI and
Yeah,
build tools and build solutions which make the processes more efficient and more user friendly, and bring in bottom line profitability for the company. That's one
right.
thing. Then I also see IoT devices, or data being captured from certain sensors or certain devices for certain industries, which basically allows me to sort of and see what I can use the data for, and I can use that data. I mean, today, if I look at smart farming, you have IoT devices, you've got drones, you've got all that data that sits out there. Imagine the power of that data allowing you to build products, insurance products for those sectors. This is where I see opportunities coming in, and this is moving away from. I'm not saying traditional goes away. Traditional remains. It will remain, but it's the other opportunities that as there are certain global researchers out there which even predict up to $3 trillion worth of opportunity that sit out there up to till the year 2030. I mean, the world sees that opportunity. Why? Because the opportunity for insurance sits out there. It's just having the right tools to allow you to then communicate with them. And if you don't have a platform that's robust enough to manage that on demand or embedded insurance, obviously, then you can't really expand the pie. So the problem here has always been that it's the same pie that the insurance companies keep on eating into by biting into each other's shares. Whereas there is such a huge opportunity that sits out there with various industries collaborating.
Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. So, thank you for sharing those insights about you, about your company, and about the whole story. And thank you for this amazing podcast session. See you in the next episode. Bye.